It's time for Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, James Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Hawaii Federal Credit Union, and Edward Jones Financial. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, Bank West, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. From the KCCR studios in Pierre, KCCR award-winning sports director, John Winkler.
And we welcome you here at the KCCR studios on this Wednesday evening, another edition of Coach's Corner for you on this Wednesday night. We will talk playoff football, talk more of the Sylvius Chargers, as well as also Maxwell, the Stanley County Buffaloes, as at 9B, 9AA. All of 9-man and 11B will get their playoffs underway. We'll have a conversation about the Chargers and the Buffaloes' chances on Thursday night, tomorrow night. We'll also talk with the head coach of the Pierre Governor football team and Steve Steele as they get set to finish out the regular season tomorrow night. Also talk with Jim Keys, head coach of the Pierre boys cross-country team, as the cross-country state run for all three classes will take place on Saturday in Rapid City. We'll have all that on the way here in this hour edition of Coach's Corner. We'll be back when talking with Coach Steele after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
This fall, take some time to think about your future while the leaves make their way down to earth and the last sunset of summer leaves us with an autumn chill. It's time to grab the nearest foam finger and break out the face paint. Rush the stands with First Dakota National Bank and forget how to blink. Fall sports are back with jaw-dropping plays, an electric atmosphere, and epic scores. Make some noise with First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakotanationalbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined, so y'all can sit here and ask me all the questions y'all want to. I'm going to answer with the same answer, so y'all can shoot if y'all please.
This is Coach's Corner on your home for the Pierre Governors, KCCR, and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome back to Coach's Corner here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Steve Steele of the Pierre Governors. And Coach, coming in the final week of the season, Thursday game against Douglas will be coming up tomorrow. And the excitement that the season is wrapping up, the regular season wrapping up, postseason is just about to begin. Obviously, you like the football season in total, but everybody works to this point of the year to get ready for the postseason. The excitement that the Pierre Governors have at practice right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. Again, throughout that middle, that tough stretch of the season, our message and our goal was that we just continue to push the trend line up, continue to get better and better so that when we get to this point, we feel like we're playing our best football. And, I feel like we're getting there. I think we're getting close. A lot of the pieces are coming together. We're seeing the timing click. So, it's all we can ask for. Ultimately, after this game, we got to play a really good game next week to continue earning games. But, again, I think we're all very happy with how we're playing at this moment.
And go back to last week against Spearfish. They're a team that's 6-1 and a lot of excitement for that team going into the week against the Pierre Governors and going into close to the end of the season. But then to do what you guys did and dominate in all facets of the game, win by 20 points over Spearfish, how much that helps the guys out, how much that just proves like, hey, we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, again, you're not 6-1 by accident. That was still a good football team. So to be able to get out there and really control that game from start to finish was an important confidence builder for the guys. And again, just more validation that, hey, trust the plan, trust the process. We're progressing. We're getting where we need to be. But at the same point, we're not there yet. We've got to continue to push the envelope and continue to push that trend line a little higher.
And then this week you get the Douglas Patriots, and the hard part about this game on Thursday is that they're 0-8. They have not scored a whole lot of points. They've been blown out a lot of games. There's been a lot of running clocks against them. Obviously, that bodes well for you guys to pick up a win. but you want to make sure that good habits are created, that everything goes well, you stay healthy, and that itself poses the problem of making sure that guys are focused throughout the game, because this is the last regular season game, and you don't want guys to be not focused, and then that goes into the first part of next week, Thursday's game in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, this is kind of just the opposite end of the spectrum that we were on a few weeks ago. We got a butt whooping a couple weeks ago, and didn't play our best. But our focus needs to be on ourselves. Our focus needs to be on how are we taking this last step forward to prepare for ultimately the playoffs. And, so it's kind of the opposite message of, hey, we can't focus so much on what they have and what they're doing as much as what we need to have, what we need to be doing, and the timing and all of the stuff that our guys need to have assignment-wise. So, I think if we can do that, and then obviously the big key is staying healthy. We're really hoping for a week where we don't have an injury. And if we can do that, then hopefully we're in a better spot sitting here next week.
And then you look at that point too, obviously the game will be the game, but if you get yourself even not to the running clock type of lead, but still have a lead late in the game, is it going to be imperative to maybe sub down or just to get other guys in? One, for varsity experience, but two, to rest these guys going into the playoffs next week.
Yeah, we're definitely we do what we need to do early. Then we're definitely looking at getting a lot of guys in the game. We'll have the freshmen up, their season's over now, so hopefully the few of them that have earned the right to travel will have an opportunity to get their first varsity games in too. So it's all going to depend on obviously the starters and them doing their job and getting the work done that needs to be done first. But hopefully we can get to that point.
And then after the win last Friday, you're now in a spot where you can't control it other than going out and get a win, but there is a path for the Governors and a more likely path for the Governors to be at home for the first round of the playoffs, which, a couple weeks ago, I think we were talking about, a lot of people like, well, the Governors aren't going to be at home in the first round of the playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, that is a nice, pleasant surprise to see that. And again, obviously, you can't control what the other three games are, but there's more of a likelihood. How nice is it that the Governors have a good shot at being at home in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, it's nice to still have that opportunity. Again, like you said, we didn't feel that opportunity was going to exist a couple weeks ago. But, again, it all just goes back to that, all you got to do is continue to put the work in that you can control, continue to push that trend line forward and become the best that you can be as a team and individually and let the rest play out. And, hopefully this plays out for us where we don't have to travel next week and go from there.
And then overall at 11AA too, that this is a wide open year where Yankton and Watertown have kind of shown that they can be the top two teams. But then you look at what Spearfish beat Watertown double overtime. You guys beat Spearfish by 20. Obviously Watertown beat you guys, but there's 1 through 8. It's going to be other years 1 through 8. You knew the top 4 seeds were going to win and advance into the second round. This year the top 8 seeds all 8 teams probably feel like they have a legit shot to win a first-round game from number 8 all the way, obviously, to number 1.
Yeah, I think it's just been an interesting year, obviously, with the amount of teams that didn't play each other throughout the course of the year. Spearfish beat Watertown, Watertown beat Yankton, Yankton beat us, we beat Spearfish. But, you didn't get to see a Spearfish Yankton. You didn't get to see a Brookings Watertown. So I think the playoffs should provide some of those really interesting matchups that maybe didn't take place during the season. But, and again, I think the whole goal for everybody should be to improve throughout the regular season so that you're playing your 3 best games. Your record doesn't matter as much as what you're doing now, when you get time to the 1-game season. So, but yeah, it should be an exciting thing just in the sense that you could realistically see a lot of upsets. You could see no upsets, you could see all upsets, and neither one would be incredibly shocking based off of how this season's went.
And I'll talk with Tom Moore of Sully Buttes and Max Foth of Stanley County coming up here later on in Coach's Corner. But they go to the playoffs this week, and you didn't know your opponent until after Friday games were done, and you had one less day to prepare for the playoffs. You guys obviously also have one less day to prepare for Douglas, but you knew Douglas was on the schedule at that point. Well, is there any kind of difficulty in 11AA with the one less day, opponent aside, but having one less day to prepare for that week 9 opponent? Is there any real difficulty knowing that you've done it before, you've done it in years past, but you know that opponent before you even get to that point?
Yeah, I don't think it's a major difference. It is a shorter week because we still had a JV game Monday, so really you had one work practice and then a pregame. But from the coach's side in preparation, it's not a major deal because we were able to handle a lot of that over the weekend either way. So, But, ultimately you lose one day of, I guess, pad practice essentially.
Before we start to wrap up, we'll go to the NFL and give you a chance again to talk about the Lions getting a win against the Vikings and what was the best game of the week and should have probably been the later game, at least Sunday afternoon, if not Sunday night. Definitely should have been Sunday Night Football after watching in that game Sunday night. But two really good teams, and that's, again, you knew that the Lions were going to be able to compete and be at a high level, but seeing this now through the first 6 games or 7 weeks of the season for Detroit, you gotta like what you see at 5-1.
Yeah, I really do, and I'm hoping, I'm really, really hoping they find a way to keep Ben Johnson. I mean, what he's done with that offense has been so incredible to see. Just the amount of things that they have in, and the amount of things that he's getting from everybody. I mean, we saw Khalif Raymond catch a touchdown, and he hadn't caught a pass really in 2 years, really, for the most part. So he's not just finding mileage with your big guys. The Amon-Ra St. Browns and Jahmyr Gibbs, and Montgomery went down for 3 drives, and he still found ways to get points on him. So just very, very impressed and excited that he's on our team. And it's been a really fun group to watch. And kind of the big question mark this week was, how is Aiden Hutchinson going to be replaced? And they found a way to go and beat a team that hadn't been beat this year without him. So really got to enjoy the chances that we've got right now.
Now, on the flip side of things, that your pick was a little bit tough right now, especially after last week, because you end up tied with me, which is not good because I was in last place. You went 1-5. You started out well. You got the Thursday night game. Then it all kind of slid away from you after that.
Yeah, we'll blame the having to be out at the Knife statue. So I was not mentally locked into the picks, but no. Yeah, I mean that's the kind of league that we've got this year in the NFL. Is it's anyone can beat anyone. I will say none of those were picks where you're like, wow, they just got killed. For the most part, I mean, there was
the Steelers Jets game.
That one's about the only one.
Yeah.
The rest of them all were right down to the end. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
We'll see. Zach continues to somehow lead that group, and that might be the best case. Is just not even caring and not having any kind of logic behind it, just making a pick.
Yeah, that's probably where it's going to end up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, well, you and I both have a lot of work to try and catch up to him right now. We'll go back here. Let's wrap things up for Coach's Corner, and biggest key here for the Governors to get a win against the Douglas Patriots.
Yeah, we've just got to go and execute. We've got to focus on ourselves, make sure we're doing the right things by us, and go out there and get it done.
Coach, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you Thursday in the pregame show.
Thanks, John.
That is head coach Steve Steele, the Peer Governors, back with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. KCCR
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Let me talk to you.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
Yeah.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Tom Moore, the Sylvia Chargers, as the playoff football is here in the state of South Dakota in 9-man and 11B this week, and all the classes will be in the quarterfinals next week. But the Sylvia Chargers get a 5 seed to take on the 12 seed Arlington. And Coach, this everything that you've worked for all season, this is now what you work for, where you get to this point. You get the 5 seed, you get a 5-12 matchup, but the season really, really begins. The season's on the line starting on Thursday.
Yeah, for sure. It's the point of the year where you win, you keep going on, you lose, you go home. So we're excited where we're at. We worked hard, excited to see a new opponent. Haven't played Arlington over the years, so it's kind of fun to see somebody new.
And the thing too is that what helps, I guess, probably for both teams really, is that there's some common opponents. They played Sunshine Bible Academy at the beginning of the season. They played Hitchcock Tulare last week to close out the season. Those two common opponents, does that help then in the quick game plan, because you go from Friday night into Thursday game, or I guess you guys are done Friday evening, but into that Thursday game? Does that help having common opponents to help maybe expedite the process of film work and breaking down everything?
Yeah, it helps a little bit. You know the players that you played against. In Hitchcock and Sunshine, you can see how they matched up against them. Things that they're able to do that we were able to do, or got taken away from us, kind of situation wise. So it's good to see that, so you can kind of see just the athletes that we've gone against, how they get matched up.
And at 4-4, when you watch film, you can go from one game to the next, and one game might be a win, the next game a loss, and see what was working for them, what wasn't working for them. But what sticks out to you the most about this Arlington squad?
That they do a good job of running the football. They got a good back there. They're able to move. They got some size up front. They got a couple kids that are bigger than us in the line that move around. They pull a little bit. So we'll have to worry about focusing and stopping the run a lot against these guys.
Well, and you went to Sunshine Bible Academy last Friday to close out the regular season. Your biggest takeaway from that, from the win that ended up being early with the 54-point win, what the biggest takeaway for that win?
Yeah, going in, they were able to move the ball, and everybody they went against the first couple of series. That was our focus, was getting out the ball up front, and I thought our guys did a tremendous job the first quarter, especially of getting out the ball and taking ownership of the line of scrimmage. So I was happy how they played right there.
And everybody's accustomed to it in 9-man and 11B that you go the quick turnaround, you play Friday, then you play Friday night or just Friday, and then you go and play Thursday in the first round of the playoffs. But in a team like Arlington that you haven't seen for so long, what's some of the difficulty of not just for them but for you guys to try and tighten up the amount of work that goes into the week and getting ready? Because you have weekday wise, you get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you're on the field again on Thursday. Where if you win this week, you get Friday, and then you get the full week of preparation for the next game. What's kind of the difficulty of going from Friday to Thursday in games?
Just losing that one day. The heavier film day you watch is usually on Monday, so you kind of tie that in to how you do things now. But the one bonus for us, and even Arlington, they got a handful of seniors that have played a lot of downs. We've had a lot of seniors that have played a lot of downs over the last couple of years. So that's one bonus for last year. It kind of affected us being young. Everything was kind of a struggle last year putting things in. So now we're able to make a few changes and add. Gavin Barber's going to jump back in the lineup this week, so it's kind of nice adding him back into things. So the first week's kind of a tougher lose that day, but as the season goes on, everything's on Thursday, so it actually is kind of nice. You can do a lot of your film stuff on Friday and give the guys the weekend off, and then hit a hard Monday and Tuesday to get prepped and ready. So once the first week is done, the playoffs kind of roll out kind of nice now.
Again, talking with Coach Tom Moore, the Sully Beach Chargers. They take on Arlington, 6 o'clock kickoff from Oneida as they get to host in the 5-12 matchup. And, Coach, you mentioned Gavin Barber being a guy that can return to the lineup or will return to the lineup on Thursday. How important it is to be healthy in a 9B school. One injury is really magnified because of the low numbers that you already will have. But for a guy like Gavin Barber to get back in the lineup, how key that is for the Sully Beach Chargers.
That's a bonus for us. I mean, it's a tribute to our guys too. He's only played about a game and a half, game and a quarter the whole year, and we've moved a lot of people around with injuries and stuff with several other people. That it shows a lot of character of the kids that moving from a DB to a linebacker to a lineman is constantly moving around and still hanging in there, being fairly successful. That's a bonus to the kids. But getting Gavin back, that's a big deal. That's a big part of our offense coming into the season, and losing them early was kind of tough. But Wes has stepped up huge, and obviously Cade Westgrim taking the carries. But our line, be able to open holes and have protection for those guys has been awesome. So it's made us stronger. So now hopefully making us stronger with him being out and him coming back now will even make things a little bit more explosive.
And you mentioned two other guys, being injured and moving pieces around. How is everybody else doing injury-wise, getting ready for this game on Thursday?
Right now, it's pretty good. We haven't been this put together since pretty much the first quarter of Burke, our second game, when Gavin went out. Then we had a couple other injuries happen. So we're a little healthier now than probably in the middle of the season when we had some guys banged up and out, just like a lot of other people. So hopefully we're getting them back at the right time. So we'll make things a little exciting to kind of have for some tools to be able to do a few different things.
And obviously things can happen. There's multiple. You can still host a playoff game next week. You could host a playoff game in the semifinals if you keep winning, but you don't get to control that by just winning. You need a couple things to happen. So this potentially being that last game at Sully Buttes for the year, again, for these seniors to want to go out, they won the last home game, but want to now win that last potential game in the playoffs. How important that is for these seniors to be able to walk off the field Thursday night and knowing that if you don't have another home game, you've got that last game at home with a win.
Yeah, that's a good for them. The guys have a great send-off. These guys have played a lot of downs for Sully Buttes. Several of these guys started as freshmen and sophomores, so they've meant a lot to our program. The things they put in, the culture that they're creating for these younger guys that are coming behind them it's good to have that leadership that's there.
And for you and the coaching staff, how exciting is it for the playoffs to get rolling?
It's enjoyable. It's another game, but it's a little bit more meaningful game. Every single game they have, the more depth they get with it. So we're excited to go against Arlington and see what happens.
Before we wrap things up, biggest key of Thursday night to get a win against Arlington.
I think controlling the line of scrimmage is a big thing. Be able to come off and set the tone right away on offense and defense. I've constantly talked about them. That the first 5 minutes of the game, I think, are the biggest minutes. There's probably three series at that point, or two series, and hopefully we've controlled all three of them and set the pace of the game.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate you talking with me today, and it's a lot of fun now that the playoffs are here. Looking forward to what the Chargers can do Thursday night. And, as I mentioned, too, as long as you keep winning, we'll keep talking with you every week for Coach's Corner. So appreciate the time, and good luck on Thursday.
Perfect. Thanks for covering.
Absolutely. That is Coach Tom Moore of the Sully Buttes Chargers. We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your healthcare is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Score big on your next vehicle purchase with Lamb Motor Company in Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre. Check out their large selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs at any one of their locations, or go online to lambmotor.com. That's LAMBMOTOR.com. Or give them a call today at 800-952-2222. Lamb Motor Company of Oneida and Gettysburg, Lamb Chevrolet and Implement in Oneida, and Lamb Auto Sales in Pierre.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota's sports leader, KCCR.
You like that? You like that?
As we welcome you back here to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes, who will face the Parkston Trojans in the 1-16 matchup tomorrow night. It is a 7 o'clock kickoff. And Coach, you're not unfamiliar with this Parkston team. You guys faced each other back in the second week of the season, and for this for the Stanley County team, Parkston didn't see Stanley County at its 100%, and I know that you're probably not 100% anyway as it is, but there was a lot of things. That was the start of the slide of all the injuries and everything that was happening for the Stanley County team. So, as you know, whatever the matchups are, you're pretty excited about this matchup to go against Parkston.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for us. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, we've had one of the wildest years in recent memory as far as the injury front and stuff like that, other stuff that we can't control. It's been pretty crazy. We've got a lot of different guys at a lot of different spots, but I felt like our kids are definitely battle-tested. You know, played, I think, the hardest schedule in all of 9-man football. You know, you look at some of the teams we played and where they're seated at in our bracket. You know, that's exactly why we made the postseason with a 2-6 record, is because everybody that we played had such an impressive record themselves. So we certainly got our work cut out for us on Thursday night, but we're excited to have another opportunity to go put the pads on and go play another game.
You know, look, before we start to look at tomorrow's matchup against Parkson, last week, Friday against Potter County, you know, the Stanley County Buffaloes got the win to close out the regular season on senior night and able to close the season on a winning note in the regular season. How important it was, obviously, one, to make the playoffs, it was very important, but how important it was to win like in the fashion that you guys did to get ready for Thursday night.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great reminder for our guys. You know, football is such a grind, especially when things aren't going your way. And it was a great reminder for all of our players just how good they can be. You know, even with some of the substitutions that we've had in the game and some of the guys that we have watching the game and supporting their teammates on the sideline, you know, we're missing key pieces off of that varsity team. But to watch those younger guys step up and make plays, and then watch all those seniors, you know, battle as tough as they did and be as successful as they were. It was a great night for us. It was a great night for Stanley County. You know, it was awesome to see Colton Brady streaking down the sidelines again for big touchdowns. Paxton Deal making great plays on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. The same thing with Blaze Frost being a really solid defensive end for us, making plays in the passing game. And of course, Noah Baldwin doing a great job. He played fullback for the first time since about middle school, and he got a crash course in fullback, and he looked great doing it, and even scored a rushing touchdown playing fullback. So it was a great night to really celebrate, you know, those kids and how good they are, and it kind of reminded them of that, and hopefully that springboards us into playing some more good football in the postseason here.
Now, on top of that, too, have you guys been practicing on the game field this week to get set for Thursday night?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we've been able to practice on the game field and really soak that in as a team and really get those reps on there. And usually we transition to the game field. We did it this year as soon as we were out of contention to start to host a playoff game. So we knew that we could use that field and, you know, kind of tear it up a little bit and practice on it every day. And it was great for those seniors to have that experience and to win their last home football game like that, especially in that fashion, as depleted as we were with so many injuries. You know, for us to go out and play that well, it was a terrific night.
So now, looking ahead to Thursday against Parkson, you have the film already against what Parkson does. Obviously, that was in game 2. So how much do you take from that game, especially on a short week, and you're not unfamiliar with the short week? This happens every year. You get the first round of the playoffs, and you find out who you're playing either late Friday night or early Saturday morning, and you have to get ready for the game on Thursday. But having that game played against Parkson, how much do you take from that game going into Thursday night against Parkson?
Yeah, it's definitely helpful at parts. You know, it gives you a nice look of what they look like defensively against some of our formations. It does a nice job, and then, you know, to be able to compare their film on their offense at the beginning of the season to what it looks like now, and to see the similarities there and what they kept and what they liked. You know, it's nice to have that experience. And then, like I said to our boys, you know, we've had this schedule where we've played the tops of the tops all season long. It's not going to be any different on Thursday night either. You know, Parkson is as good as advertised. We felt like we had a great plan going into it. We really dared them to throw the football, and then we found out, hey, they can do that too. So it gives us another opportunity to kind of tweak our plan a little bit defensively and try to slow them down a little bit, and then try to capitalize on some things that worked offensively for us in that game as well.
So, and then Parkson-wise, too, anything that really stands out that has changed since that the time that you guys met that you've seen on film?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for them, their change is defensively. They look like they're so confident. They're playing so fast and so physical. You know, it looks like they really understand their system defensively, and those kids are just flying around. You know, it looks like that defensive line is just absolutely shutting down run games of everybody that they play, and they're making it hard on that defensive line too. They're committing more and more guys to the back end of their defense because they say, you know, we got a great front four and we don't think you can get it done. And so far, people haven't been able to get it done against them, against that terrific defensive line. So they're playing at an all-time level with their confidence right now, and I think that we've got a great plan in place, and if we can get a score on the board early and make them hesitate a little bit, it's going to get them and thinking, oh, man, they might have overlooked this a little bit.
Well, and you guys are a lot different than what you were in week 2 when you guys played them. And how much does that help you guys out? Do you feel like it can help you guys out having that, that they, obviously they've probably seen that on film now getting ready and set for you, but it did not see that in person like they did, like what they saw the first time they played you.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we've got some really good seniors in some really good spots. Our junior class is good. I think that we've learned a lot about ourselves over the course of this tough season here, and I think that, our kids are confident in the situations that we're putting them in, and they're playing better and better, as you saw against that Potter County game at the end of the season. So I'm hoping that our confidence is as good as it looks in practice, and we know they're going to be fast. We know they're going to be physical, but it's one of those things we just got to be able to match that intensity and withstand that right away as the game starts. And if we do that, the longer the underdog hangs around in the game, the tighter that big number 1 seed gets, and all of a sudden they get to looking around and not knowing why they're only up a touchdown or why it's such a close game in the middle of the second quarter, and all of a sudden we make it a 4-quarter game and anything could happen in that fourth quarter.
And talk with Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. They take on Parkson on Thursday, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Kickoff in Parkson in the first round of the 9AA playoffs. And that's the thing is that, you guys, the three-way tie at the end of Friday night with Gregory and Bennett County, you guys had the higher seed point averages of opponents, which also then, again, signifies, and it doesn't take a rocket science to see your guys' schedule and say, I think Stanley County might have played a tough schedule this year. It shown to that point that you guys are in the playoffs, and you get yourself a chance to play on Thursday night. And you mentioned, too, hanging around with the top dog. Well, the Stanley County team has seen not just one top dog. They've seen all the top dogs so far this season. So there's nothing that really you guys are going to be scared of when it comes to Thursday night because you've seen it all. You've seen number 1 seed, number 4 seed, the 8 and 9 seed. You've seen them, too. I mean, you've seen almost everybody that's going to be hosting a playoff game, and you've seen 2 number 1 seeds going into the playoffs.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why we're so excited to be able to get in because, honestly, us as a coaching staff, we thought the way that we read the rule book that because Gregory had that head-to-head win, I thought that was going to launch Gregory ahead of us to take the 16 seed. So when we found that out late Friday night that, we're going to keep playing ball, we were excited as a staff to be able to send that message out to our guys that, hey, there's more football to be played, and we could try to build on, like I said before, that confidence that we had when we played Gettysburg on that Friday night. So we're excited for the opportunity. It's a terrific opportunity for us. Anytime you get to the playoffs, it's a fresh start to your season, and hopefully we could take these lessons and these lumps that we've had earlier in the year and use them to play our best football going forward on Thursday night.
And you mentioned, too, hanging around against the number 1 seed and forcing that number 1 seed Parkson to feel a little bit tighter, to play a little bit tighter, and to give you guys more confidence. How do you make that happen early on in the game? Is it keeping it 0-0? Is it trying to match touchdown for touchdown? How do you want to control the clock a little bit more? What's kind of that key to a good start to hang around as long as you can, or hang around to even have the lead in that game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we've got to do a really good job of taking care of the football. We can't. They're good enough on their own that if we gift them a fumble or if we throw an interception. And they get the ball in plus territory to start the drive, that's going to be a really rough spot for us. So we got to win that field position battle, even if we don't necessarily get points on the drive, to be able to get some first downs, like you said, run that clock a little bit, put the field position game, make them have long, sustained drives, and try to force them into a mistake. It's one of those things with the offense that they run, they're very happy with taking about 4.5 or 5 yards to carry. If we can make them do that for a 10-play drive, a 15-play drive, a 16, 17, 18-play drive, we're going to be happy, even if they end in the end zone, because we know that clock is going to be running, and then the more attempts that they have at that, the more likely, they're teenage boys as well. There could be a mistake there, and we just got to be able to capitalize on that. And then on the offensive side, we got to take our opportunities to be aggressive when they're there. Use some of their aggression against them. As big and physical and fast as they are, there's things you could do on the football field to try to limit some of that speed, try to get them thinking, get them moving side to side a little bit more. So if we do a good job taking care of the football and we're aggressive on offense, I think we're going to leave ourselves with a shot at the end of the game.
Well, you kind of answered that question, but I'll finish off with that final question. The biggest key overall for Stanley County to pull off the upset?
Yeah, we got to force some turnovers. It's one of those things that with how they run the football, we got to be great tacklers in space. They've got tremendous athletes. They're very physical up front. But when we meet the ball carrier, we got to get them down right away. And first guy there is making the tackle. Next 2 or 3 are all ripping that ball out. We got to force some turnovers. And then, like I said before, the biggest thing with us this year is, we would have a great drive, or we would have a good possession. We'd be getting up first downs, and then all of a sudden we would fumble or we would throw an interception. And we just had too many turnovers for the regular season this year, and we got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. So I think that if we take care of the ball and we're positive on that turnover ratio, I think we're going to leave ourselves in a good spot.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time as always. It's always fun talking football, especially playoff football. Looking forward to Thursday night, tomorrow night, and see what the Stanley County Buffaloes can do against Parkson. Safe travels and good luck tomorrow night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That is Max Voth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. Back with more Coaches Corner after this here on KCCR and on YouTube and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com.
Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through every season. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. They have fully trained ASE certified mechanics on staff ready to handle it for you. From brakes and bearings to alignments and front ends, let their experience work for you. Over 50 years combined means you can count on them. So if it's time for a transmission flush or even a simple oil change, the only name you need to know is Graham Tire, 421 West Sioux Avenue in Pierre. It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pierre area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC. No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 30 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agriculture. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. That number again is 223-2518. Todd's Electric Service, serving the Pierre Fort Pierre area. Todd's Electric Service, the line to power.
That's a clown question, bro.
You're listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com.
As we welcome you back to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Joining me is Coach Jim Keys of the Pierre Boys Cross Country team as they get sent for the state cross country meet out in Rapid City this weekend. And Coach, it's good talking to you again. And it's hard to believe that we're at the end of the cross country season already. It feels like it wasn't too long ago that you guys were running in. Well, it probably wasn't too long ago you're running in almost 100-degree weather, but it wasn't too long ago you're running 100-degree weather in August.
Exactly, and thanks for having me on again. But yeah, you know what? The cross country season, has really gone pretty fast this year. It's one of those seasons that, before you know it, it's over. And it wasn't too long ago. It doesn't seem that long ago. We were talking about our first meet, right at the end of August, and now we're talking about the state meet. So. Yeah, we're excited. 2 weeks ago we had the ESD, and last week we had we call it our last in-season meet. It's kind of different how we do it. We go from ESD, and then we have a regular in-season meet, and then we go right to the state meet. So that's where we're at right now.
I think one of the things that hopefully can give your guys confidence is you guys were at Huron one Saturday and then had the ESD at Huron again. Then you end up being back there another time this past week. But you guys raced at Hart Ranch already, and you're doing it again. Maybe the course will be a little bit different, but you got a chance to see your guys, and those guys got a chance to see their times increase, or I guess decrease, and get quicker. And that's got to give a lot of confidence, saying from one point to the next, you can be better. You can shave off some time, and you've already been able to prove that on a different course.
Absolutely. And if there's one course that I would say would help you for the Rapid City course, would be the Huron course. The thing about the Rapid City course, it's at Hart Ranch. I would say it's a little bit of a rocky, rougher type of a course. Not the green, beautiful green, golf course. And I would say Huron is what I would call a true cross country course. And it's not going to be easy going out to Rapid, and our kids got to be very confident and kind of have that attitude of redeeming themselves a little bit, because I think the Rapid City course got to us a little bit early in the season. But when you talk about the last two meets in Huron, we had a really good day at ESD. There's a total of 10 teams, and we got fifth. Then we come back a week later in 35-mile-an-hour winds. And our times weren't close to the ESD times because of the 35-mile-an-hour winds. But we come back the next week, and a lot of similar teams, I know that Aberdeen and Brookings didn't run all their guys at that last Huron meet, but we ended up coming away with a win. We had a team win in Huron and beat Yankton, for example, for the first time ever this season. And the week prior to that, we lost to Yankton, and they had all the same guys. So Yankton was fourth in the ESD, and we were fifth in the ESD. And then a week later, we beat Yankton. And then one more thing, at ESD, we beat three teams this year that we haven't beat all season. We haven't beat Harrisburg, we haven't beat Watertown, and we haven't beat T. And we beat them for the first time as well. So it's a good feeling of kind of where we're at right now.
And as a coach, too, to be able to see that happen, and you can preach and you can work with the guys and work as a coach as much as you can, but other times, the guys just got to go out there and keep running and put in the effort, too, and put in the practice. And to see that has got to make you feel really good as a coach that this is a really good group of guys.
It is a good group of guys. When I talk to this crew, we're kind of like, that hard-working crew that might not have, compared to some other schools in the state, we might not have a lot of guys with a lot of supernatural ability, but we have a lot of guys that work hard, that want to get better, and their times have got better. It's very interesting in the last 2 weeks that all 7 of the runners that I'm bringing have PR'd in the last 2 weeks. They've got their personal best times of their career in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I should go back about 3 weeks when we were at So from Watertown to Huron, our kids are getting better and better. So, obviously we have a top kid by the name of Caleb Morris, who placed 9th last year, that has been doing soccer and cross country, and we've been kind of trying to get him healed up. He kind of got injured, during the soccer season, and we're trying to get him ready to go, and the rest of the guys too. But Caleb Morris got 9th last year and was an all-state runner. So we have a guy up there leading our group.
Yeah, and a guy that, when you look at, if you're on the activities website and going to the entries for the boys' side, a guy that's, in terms of time, right there with the top group, with his best time on the website, one of those best times and being able to be in that top group. So he's looking, obviously you mentioned too, trying to be healthy, trying to get healthy to make sure that he's running at 100% on Saturday. But he's got a shot to be just right back in the top 10 again at the state meet.
And the one thing here is the state meet is what really matters. And I preach to these kids all the time that it's the next race that counts. It's the next race that counts. And Caleb is what we call a big-time meet runner. When it comes down to the end of the season, by the way, Caleb had the 24th best time going into the state last year, and he got 9th. And so, last year at the state track meet, he got 7th at the state track meet and probably had about the 12th or 13th fastest time going into that. So Caleb has been one of these runners that has showed up at the right time. And I would just like to mention the other 6 guys, if I could, real quick,
Absolutely.
that are going to run at the state meet. Jaden Brandt has been our second runner all year. Daniel Mason has been either our third or fourth runner. Jim Netto has been right up there, who's a freshman. Jacob Mason, who's our other senior, with Ian Rounds, and then Triton Parmalee. So we're going to run those 7 guys at the state meet. And like I said, there's no doubt that if we're going to place in the top 6, and I know we're not on paper in the top 6, and I've told the kids that we have to beat every single team that we have beat this year. We have to beat everyone that's at our level and about four or five other teams that we haven't beat this year, which I think we can do. We just beat four teams that we haven't beat all year in the last 2 weeks. But now we're going to have to step it up if you want to make the podium. And not only do we have to beat those teams, we're going to have to beat about another 4 to place in the top 6. And we know it's, our back is kind of against the wall on being in the top 6. But I got 7 guys that believe they can do it. And that's what I'm excited about, is I got some hard-working kids that are going to give it a shot this week.
Again, talk with Coach Jim Keys of the Pierre Governor Boys Cross Country team. The Cross Country State Championship runs are on Saturday at the Hart Ranch course, starting at noon with the Class B girls. That'll be noon Mountain Time, and it will end with the Class AA boys at 2:30. And, when you look at, you guys are the last run of the day, and the Class AA girls, a chance to cheer them on. They're at 1 o'clock, so then you'll still have another hour and a half from their start to when you guys start. Being the last run of the day, is it good? Is it bad? I think we might have had this conversation before, and obviously you have to make it be good, but do you like the fact that you're going to be running, that Class AA boys are the last run of the day?
Well, obviously we got to make it good. And I'm going to tell the kids wherever we're at, whenever we run, I'm going to tell them that's the best time to run. But the most important thing is running at 2:30, and I've told the kids, I made this mistake once when I was in high school, is that the last thing I ate was at 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning for breakfast, and I didn't eat again until after 2:30, and you can't do that. And so not only do you need a good breakfast in the morning, your normal breakfast time, but then you have to eat something at the course. If we were running at 12 o'clock, it'd be a little bit different. You can go off your breakfast that you eat in the morning, but you don't run till 2:30. The energy that you need, that stored energy, is not gonna be there. So we have to time our about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours prior to our race. So we're talking about 11 o'clock, getting some light lunch in, maybe like a half a sandwich or, maybe, some fruit and granola bar, something like that, to eat probably about 11 o'clock to time this right. So to me, there's, you got to look at that. I think that's a big part of, just kind of being race ready and knowing when you should stretch. You don't need to stretch right when we get there at 12 o'clock with 2.5 hours to sit and wait. So, you just got to do things right and relax. And then when it's time to do your thing and we do it. And then you rise to the occasion that way. That's how I look at the state meet.
Again, it's going to be in Rapid City on Saturday at the Hart Ranch. Looking at the temperature right now, there's no talk of wind. Might still be a little bit far away from having any kind of winds, but mostly sunny, high of 69 on that Saturday for the run. That's a really nice temperature to be outside for a day. For a temperature that's right around 70 degrees, what's the best advantage of that? What's something that you still, it's still that you got to treat it, even though it's 70 degrees, you still got to treat it a certain way. What's the advantages? What's maybe a disadvantage of it being 70 degrees?
Well, I think our advantage to our boys, we like to slow everybody else down a little bit. We don't want this to be a track meet. The type of boys that I have on this team, I prefer not to have a track meet type cross-country meet. And so number one at the Rapid City meet, I think it's a slower course in general. And if it is kind of nasty out there, I would actually take that. I'm not a big wind type of guy, but we're the type of team that we'll welcome some colder weather if we get it. But like you said, it sounds like it's going to be fine. 69 degrees, no wind. It sounds like a beautiful day for a cross-country meet. But I've told this team all year, I think whatever conditions, because I want the kids to know if we were to get bad conditions at the state meet, I think that's an advantage to us, just because of the type of hardcore type of runners that I have on the team. So that's the way I'll approach it. And, we'll bring our cold weather gear just in case the weather changes. But we'll be ready to go no matter what the weather has for us.
You can talk with Coach Jim Keys of the Pierre Boys Cross Country team. The state meets, the state cross country runs happening in Rapid City on Saturday. Coach, before we wrap things up, final question for you. Biggest key for the Governors to have their best race on Saturday, individually and as a team, to have the best finish and have the best successful run of the season. What's the biggest key for that?
Well, the biggest key is Caleb needs to be probably in the top 10, top 5. He was 9th last year. He needs to be up there. Another key is our second runner, Jaden Brandt, who's been our second runner. He can make up a lot of points. He's probably a minute behind Morris, even though he's running 17:17, which is a really good time. But he's still about a minute behind Morris. There are points there that we can get. And then probably even more important than that, yes, Brandt could probably can get us about 25 less points if he runs the perfect race. But our 3rd, 4th, and 5th runners, 6th runners, those runners, for us to be successful, they have to be within 10 seconds of each other. Now, if I looked at their best times of the season, if you take our 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th runners, they are 10 seconds apart right now on their best day. And so when our 3rd runner crosses the line, an ideal situation would be 10 seconds later, we need our 5th runner to cross the line. If that were to happen, I would say that would be the perfect situation for us. If our 3rd, 4th, and 5th runners are spread out, it's not going to be ideal for us to really have any chance of making the podium. So that's the message I'm going to give the kids. Every guy needs to do their job, all the way from Caleb Morris, who's to me a top 5 guy possibly, all the way to our 7th runner. So.
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time. It's fun talking with you. I appreciate the insight heading into the state meets on Saturday. Again, they're at the Hart Ranch course in Rapid City. With the first run of the day will be the Class B girls at noon, followed by Class A girls 12:30, Class AA girls at 1 o'clock, Class B boys at 1:30, Class A boys at 2 o'clock, and then closing out the day will be the Class AA boys at 2:30. That'll be this Saturday. Coach, appreciate the time. Safe travels this weekend out to Rapid City and back, and good luck. Looking forward to seeing where the Governors finish.
Well, I appreciate your support with our team, and we look forward to maybe talking to you later about how we did. So thank you.
Absolutely. That is head coach Jim Keys of the Pierre Boys Cross Country team. We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and on YouTube and online at We'll return with more Coach's Corner after this here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. kccrradio.com. KCCR Radio.
Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota is serving the central South Dakota community and beyond with a great selection of used vehicles. Local trades and program vehicles are available. New Toyotas and new Fords are arriving and selling before they even hit the lot. So don't wait. Stop in and find out what's coming. If you've been thinking about ordering a new Ford, stop in and sit down with one of our sales specialists today. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention, it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner three.
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Now back to Coach's Corner with KCCR award-winning sports director John Winkler.
That'll wrap up another edition of Coach's Corner on this Wednesday night as we welcome you back in the KCCR studios. Again, thanks to our football coaches, Steve Seal, the Pierre Governors, Tom Moore, the Sully Beach Chargers, and Max Foth of the Stanley County Buffaloes. Also thanks to head coach Jim Keys of the Pierre Boys Cross Country team. Playoff football is tomorrow night. We've got coverage here on KCCR of the regular season finale for the Pierre Governors and the Douglas Patriots. It's a 7 o'clock Central Time kickoff. It'll be a 6 o'clock kickoff on Country 95.3 as the Sully Beach Chargers will host the Arlington Cardinals. Then on Friday, we also will have Pierre Governor Volleyball back here on KCCR. Saturday, we've got 3 games for you. The second game of the day, Alabama and Missouri. It'll be a good SEC battle. And then we've also got Game 2 of the World Series. We'll have Game 1 joining in progress after Pierre Volleyball tomorrow, Friday night. And then Saturday night we'll have the Game 2 of the World Series between the Yankees and the Dodgers. 3 NFL games on Sunday, with the conclusion of that day being the Cowboys and 49ers on Sunday Night Football. Then we get back to Monday Night Football next week as the Steelers will host the Giants. And that'll all be here on KCCR. Looking forward to another fun week of sports right here across your Riverfront broadcasting stations. We've got more Coach's Corner next Wednesday here on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Enjoy your rest of your Wednesday.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccr.com. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Lamb Motors, Avera, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Edward Jones Financial, Graham Tire, Kruger Contracting, CHS River Plains, Gales Gas, BankWest, and Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota. To hear the show again, head to YouTube at KCCR Sports for shows at any time. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.